Did you know that the worldwide clothing and apparel industry creates 3.9 billion tons of carbon dioxide emissions a year? Did you also know that that's 7.5 more global carbon dioxide emissions than the aviation industry? Yeah, let's talk about it. So let's back up. How did this even happen? Let me give you a deep dive to tell you how the shirt you're wearing right now has probably messed up the environment. So fashion used to be slow, very, very slow. For all of time, up until around the 1800s, people only bought clothes when you grew out of your last ones, and clothes were made by either your mother or a local seamstress. Due to this type of demand, clothes were made with high quality fabrics and trends moved very slowly. During the Industrial Revolution in the 1950s, there was a boom of technological innovation. The Industrial Revolution during this time went crazy to try and rebuild after World War II. It introduced a wave of new things like the introduction of synthetic textiles like polyester, which is a byproduct of petroleum, since cotton was so hard to get. The Industrial Revolution was not ethical and led to many factory deaths, and even child labor. As time went on, some conditions got better, but the innovation went farther and farther, the trends changed faster and faster, the ethics became worse and worse, and the clothes got cheaper and cheaper. In the 1970s, people really started leaning into fashion as a form of expression and as a hobby. By the 1980s and 90s, brands like H&M, Zara, Forever 21, and etc. became profiting off of influencing dynamics that people want to buy clothes they see celebrities wear in paparazzi pictures and on the red carpet. The turnover time between the inspiration, production, and retailing became so quick, the trends would rise and die very quickly. These are called microtrends. The clothes at these stores are cheap, likely moderate to low quality, use synthetic fibers like polyester and nylon, and worst of all, create thousands of styles that will become cringe in 3 months. Brands like Shein do this to profit off of these fast-growing and dying microtrends. So where do you think the term "that's so last season" came from? Because Hollister wants you to think that wearing the same sweater from 3 months ago is bad, so you'll buy their new one. So this is a lot to take in already. So where does it start killing our planet? I'd be surprised if all these mind-consuming marketing tactics don't already seem unethical, but I'll keep going. When these clothes get out of style, you're going to get rid of them. And where do they go? Well, they may go to your little sister or cousin, but most of the time they go to a thrift store like Goodwill. Goodwill and other thrift stores are a good way to not contribute to the fashion industry and give old clothes a new life. However, with the rise of fast fashion so fast and terribly unethical brands like Shein, thrift stores are getting so many clothes that not all of them can even make it there. Even if clothes do make it on the floor of Goodwill and are bought and loved, and even if the cycle repeats again, the clothes are eventually going to rot in a landfill. Remember when I was talking about polyester? Well, that plays a big part here. When these low-quality clothes are made with synthetic materials, it burns up in the landfill and produces harmful carcinogenic toxins, greenhouse gases, and microplastics that are non-biodegradable, and they're going to linger all over the environment. These are the same greenhouse gases that are destroying the ozone, that are melting our ice caps, making houses in the Outer Banks fall into the sea, along with coral reef bleaching and other catastrophic weather events that aren't supposed to happen, kind of like Helene. So how can we fix this? Well, it's going to be really hard to undo everything that's already been done, but there's some things you can do to help. Reuse and upcycle. If you don't like your clothes anymore, that's fine, but try experimenting with cutting up fabrics and using them for other things like patches or cotton strips from t-shirts to make paper towels. You can also try picking up a hobby. Try learning to upcycle your clothes to make them more your style and give them a second life. Donating clothes is tricky. Goodwill can be unethical, but smaller thrift stores like Anna Bananas here in Boone or donating them to organizations that give clothes to people in need like victims of wildfires and other natural disasters, people who lost everything, is significantly more beneficial than donating them to thrift-addicted people like you and me. The culprit of these effects is fast fashion giants and how they market not just clothing, but the idea that we need to have so much of it so often. Over the past few years, I've been practicing only buying clothes that I need and investing in clothing that I can wear for a long time. And that doesn't have to have a fat price tag either. My favorite jeans I've worn for 3 years almost every day were $5 at Goodwill. It's not a crime to want to look stylish, because everyone does. But think about if your purchases at the mall or Goodwill are necessary. We can do a lot with changing how we consume our clothing. So stay away from fast fashion, recognize the consequences, shop small, and reduce, reuse, recycle. Thank you.